Hey y'all, I'm here. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I'm pissed the hell off. Like I'm pissed because of my job right now, but because I can't go off the way I want to, I'm just gonna take that energy. I'm gonna channel it into this video. I'm gonna take that energy and I'm gonna channel it into this video because like frustrated. Anyway, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a short time. Two things I really wanted to talk about really fast. Love and Marriage, DC, and then the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So Real Housewives of Atlanta episode 3. I watched that this morning. So let me see. What do I have? Oh, this is really what I wanted to say about that episode. The girls can get mad all they want. In that video I said about Candy, but we episode 3. And my point is slowly but surely being proven about how messy Candy Burris is. And I love the fact, I love the fact, I love the fact that Sheree, I'm surprised it was Sheree, but I'm glad that Sheree really called Candy out. I told y'all, Candy is literally the Sheree, like the bone collector. She's the new Sheree, and she has for the last couple seasons. And I really feel like people don't say anything about Candy, and I stand by this because number one, because she's Candy and she has all of these businesses and she's so damn, successful. And secondly, because of all of that shit that happened with uh Portia and her all them years ago. It feels like people just want to automatically give Candy a pass. I'm a little bit annoyed because I was irked this past episode because it was very clear how it was your fault. I don't understand how at the table, when everybody was at the table for the tea party, how when Sheree very clearly laid that out, she said to Drew, she was like, I don't understand, like, why is it that you will go and tell Candy? And then Candy went and told Marlo. And then she also went and she told Kenya, because we ended up finding like out earlier in the episode that when Marlo and Sheree is hanging out, that Marlo was like, oh yeah, Candy told me that such and such said about your sister, da, da, da. And Sheree said the right thing. Why is Candy going around to everybody else but me and telling everybody what's said about me? And then for Candy to use the excuse at the end, oh well, I was giving Drew the chance to say it herself. That's not giving her the chance. This is the real way you would have given her the chance is if you said absolutely nothing. You should have said nothing to Kenya and you should have said nothing to Marlo. You should have kept your mouth shut and gave Drew the opportunity when she was in front, when Drew finally had a chance to be in front of Sheree, that would have been her opportunity. But how are you giving her the opportunity to tell Sheree herself when you're walking around running your mouth telling everybody? This is what I mean about Candy. Candy really be stirring the pot. And I love that Sheree called her out and said, like at the very end, she was like, I wouldn't expect anything from Drew because I don't know her. But for it to be you, and she's like, I don't understand. How is it that I'm in trouble? Because you're running your mouth. And the thing about it, Candy, is nobody ever calls you out about you being a pot stirrer. Because I don't care. I'll keep bringing it back. Let's go back to the first season that Kenya came back after she had the baby and was married. She had a conversation with Portia, Candy did, and Portia might have said one or two things, and then she turned around and saw Kenya and told Kenya exactly what Portia says. Candy loves to run her mouth and then turn around. Oh, I need to calm down. Hold on. What I said about Candy, she proved this episode. Period. You like to stir the fucking pot and then wipe your hands like, oh, well, what did I say? Well, why is everybody mad at me? Because you're the one running your mouth. Point blank, period. That I really have to get that off my chest because that shit really made me mad. What else happened? I feel like Drew is looking for a storyline. So she, like, that conversation that she had with her assistant, it feels like you're trying to pull something like about Sheree so that you can be out and about. I'm tired of her and her husband's fake ass storyline. I said that last week. I stand on that. I like Kenya a whole lot more. I said that. Yeah, that shit was just wild to me. And it's like, again, when they tried to call her husband gay, I don't think that Rout's gay. I think he's an asshole and I think he's a narcissist, but I don't think that he's gay. But I do think that Drew, you should have just, if you really, you should have called Sheree. The same way that Katie should have picked up the phone and called Sheree, you should have called Sheree too and had that conversation with her like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but this man is over here telling me your business, da 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 da. Like, and I get what Drew is saying about like, well, if you expected me to call you, then you should have said did the same thing. But to Sheree's defense, she's right. I wasn't going around telling everybody, which I don't believe that. I believe Sheree was going around telling everybody that. But point of the matter is, get that assistant the hell off this TV. I'm done. That's that. Love and Marriage Huntsville. Oh, Love and Marriage Huntsville. Love and Marriage DC. So as y'all all know, the Love and Marriage DC came on, and it's I'm gonna say this, and I'm just gonna be real. No shade. I did not watch this show because of Monique. Because if y'all watch my Real Housewives of Potomac for the last season that she was on there, y'all know how I feel about her. I don't got nothing personally against her, but y'all, we ain't gonna get into it. I watched this show because of Carlos King, because he's amazing at making TV, and I stand by that. Because when Love and Marriage Huntsville came on, we didn't know none of those people, and I watched it because I fuck with Carlos King. And if I'm gonna sit here and watch Andy Bravo and him sit up on TV and do his nonsense, especially something that to me, no shade, but was built off of the back of mostly a black man. All right, because Carlos King, you can't tell me didn't have the good majority of ideas over there in Bravo. But point of the matter is, I'm gonna watch. So I did. Let's see, what should I say? Monique and her husband. This is how I feel, and y'all could get in the comments. Y'all gonna go back and forth with yourself, because y'all ain't gonna go back and forth with me, because I'm not gonna even answer. But what I will say, I was a little surprised when I saw that she was going to be on this show, because from my understanding, she didn't want to be on the Real Housewives of Potomac, because Giselle Bryant was walking around pretty much trying to tell everybody that her son wasn't her son's and it was her husband's. And she didn't like people coming for her marriage and coming for her kids and her family and stuff like that. Understandable, right? So, and she said, quote unquote, she didn't need that shit. She didn't need it. All I'm saying is that if you didn't like people talking about your marriage and your family and possible infidelity over here, I don't understand why you would come over here and think it's gonna be any different. Do you not watch Love and Marriage Huntsville? Like, that's my whole thing. Do you not think that that's not possible for you and your husband? And I think just this is just the way I look at it. If you really didn't want people like in your marital business, I guess, and spreading false rumors about your marital business, I would think that whatever show Monique would do going forward would void her marriage. Like, wouldn't really be so much centered on her marriage. Now, for the Real Housewives of Potomac, yes, it's the Real Housewives, and it does somewhat include, like, their entire life and including their husband. But I feel like a lot of the women don't even have men. So I feel like you would have been able to get away with it a little bit more over there, versus this is Love and Marriage Huntsville. So the legit topic of conversation is going to be your marriage. So I just find it weird that you didn't want to be on that show because you didn't like how people were coming for your marriage and your husband and your kids and stuff like that. But then you would go on a reality show that has the messiest show right now about black marriages. You will go on that show and put your marriage on Fresh Street. Like, that's the only part that's confusing to me. It just doesn't make sense to me, but whatever, we here now. She looked really, really nice. Love the dreads. She looks amazing. I honestly don't care about Monique and Chris's storyline, because as far as I'm concerned, it ain't much different from when they was on the Real Housewives of Potomac, when she kept calling the other show. Like, when you keep doing that, it makes it seem like you're still pressed, even though you say you're not. It seems like you're extremely pressed. It was nothing new. Like, what, her and the mama don't get along? I think that's gonna come up, and Chris talking to her kind of crazy. That's how it was on. I'm not saying he talked to her crazy, but it coming off as if he talks to you like he don't care about what you gotta say. Monique to me in this episode came off real, I don't want to say needy, but it came off like, I don't know. Is it needy? Is it performative? I don't know. I feel like she was really in the mode of, like, I don't know. Is she EP on the show? Because it was just giving me that. Like, she was giving me, I can't even explain it. I just didn't like what she was giving. Who else did we have on that show? I can't really think about it. The girl Winter, I think that's her name, Winter. Winter is the girl, I think, who half of her head is shaved off, and she said that, like, now we need to get into her whole situation, because first of all, Mama said that that she was married to an NFL player, and he ended up cheating on her with the nanny and had 2 babies with the nanny, so she left him. And then we find out later that she ended up getting a divorce from another man, which we're gonna find out later it's because he a damn scammer, because she said she found out something, but she didn't say what it was. But we found out later by looking at the previews, he's a scammer. Allegedly a scammer. And then They was like, oh man, that's, and then Monique said something. I'm like, cause she was like, oh, he went back home to live with his parents, and I'm like, his parents. Everybody was like, his parents, and then Monique said, ain't he like 60? I said, bitch, 60? Because what her look like, she gotta be like in her late 30s, like she gotta be somewhere like in her late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s. She gotta be somewhere in there. I said, baby, that's a hot ass mess, but I can't wait to get into her situation. Who else we got? I can't remember everybody's names because everybody is new. Let's talk about real quick. Oh, shout out to Quicksilver and his wife. I don't say we all know, but I know DJ Quicksilver, you know, he's very, very, very legendary DJ, so know about him. Their family seems like it's cute. What is their arc? Their storyline is gonna be the storyline of the man who works too much and the woman who wants to step out and have her own, you know, identity. That's their storyline. I cannot think of the other woman's name right now, but it's Arena, and I don't know, it's Ashley? I don't know, but whatever the other woman is, the woman that been married for 26 years. I do not think her name is Ashley. I think that's Quicksilver's wife's name. But we gonna call her Ashley. But if that's not her name, that's fine. But who I am talking about is the woman that been married for 26 years and she got the son, Lil Jamie. That's who I'm talking about. My only thing about that is I was getting a tad bit annoyed. Like what did the son do? Like I guess if you watched the preview, then you know what the son was into. But like when her husband had came downstairs and they was talking about, oh, they don't have little Jamie and his father don't have a relationship and stuff like that, and then she had seen him at the car lot and was like, oh, we are always worried. And I'm like, y'all are not saying like what is going on with him. Like, is he a drug addict? Is he a drug dealer? Like, is he? I got, by the time that they was done with that conversation in the car lot, I took from it that he's in the streets some way somehow. Like when they said like we scared you gonna leave and not come back, I take it as them saying like you up in these streets, and they kept saying you hanging out with the wrong people. So I'm assuming he's like allegedly like in them streets, okay? And why you in them streets when your people got it like that? Don't be in them streets. Be at home, make a business, flourish. You ain't gotta be doing all of this. So the one problem I will say that I do have with that whole situation is y'all need to be telling the whole truth, because what we're not gonna do is put his behavior on Miss Mary Jane. Okay, when little Jamie had a conversation with Big Jamie, he was like, yeah, you know, I thought that I was okay with the weed, you know, and I said I could stop smoking weed anytime, and you know, I was just doing weird stuff, you know, when I was high, and that's obviously not the case. And he's like, oh, I thought I could do, you know, just stop smoking, but that's obviously not the case, and I was high doing weird stuff. I said, let me stop you right there. What we're not gonna do is put whatever the hell you're doing on Mary Jane. Because what Mary Jane will do might make you want to take a nap. You might want to get some food. You might want to go and sit down for a second. But nobody, unless it's laced with something, blink, 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 okay? It's gonna be like, let me hit a blunt or hit a joint and let me go rob somebody. Like that, it don't work like that. Like if you was gonna rob somebody, you was gonna do that already. The blunt didn't enhance you to do it. It might have sobered, like hide you up, or maybe made your mind, you know, like kind of a little bit calmer when you did it. But we didn't go from smoking to whatever felony charges he got going up, and I don't like that. And especially you should know better to do that when, from my understanding, Mary Jane is legal in DC across the board. So that's what we're not going to do. Either be real about what you're really doing, because let's be real, what you're probably really doing, if you are smoking, you're lacing your stuff allegedly, and if you're not lacing your stuff, you're definitely popping pills, because that's the time that we're in. If anything, you probably popping pills allegedly, because that's the time that we're in. But I didn't like how they tried to throw all of that on Mary Jane. That bothered me, because Mary Jane don't make you do stuff like that at all. If anything, Mary Jane, like I said on Twitter, it stops us, a lot of us, from doing crazy stuff. How about that? Yeah, okay. What else was going on that show? I think that was really it. You know, I can't wait to see the rest of the season. I'm very interested, you know. I like the cast that we got so far. It's a nice little people, you know. I'm very interested in Winter. I want to know, bitch. I want to know. And Love and Marriage Huntsville, I do not watch that show no more because everybody on that show is absolutely ridiculous. I don't got time. I did shout out to Scotty by Nature. Shout out to Scotty. I did watch his live with like Wanda and Kiki and when they was going back and forth. But like outside of that, no ma'am. Everybody on that show. Matter of fact, let me just say this before I go, cause I want to get this off my chest. The only way I will go back to watching Love and Marriage Huntsville is if y'all take Stormy off this damn show. Because what we're not, I refuse, and I said this before. This is my whole thing. Let me put Stormy to the side for a second. Melody, you pretty much kind of started the show with your husband, Tisha, Marceau, Kimmy, blah blah blah. Okay, it been y'all three couples. Then, as far as I'm concerned, you and Tisha pretty much fell out. So, in my opinion, so that you could have somebody, and because Kimmy's in the middle, for you to have somebody that's more on your side, you brought Destiny onto the show, okay? Now Destiny's on the show. Then you and Destiny pretty much sort of have a little bit of a falling out, ain't best of friends. So you bring Tiffany on the show, okay? Now that you and Destiny definitely aren't friends, and Tisha and you definitely aren't friends, and you and Tiffany, y'all kinda okay. You now bring Stormy on the show. It just feels like you're just, every time you not getting along with somebody, you just shifting them over and then bringing somebody else on the show. And my whole thing is, Mel, is you can't just keep bringing people on the show every time you don't get along with somebody. Because to be real, if Tiffany wasn't on the show, like last season, who would she have really filmed with? Because her and Destiny wasn't even super close like that. They were cool, but they wasn't super close. So my thing is, Melody, you can't just keep every single time you fall out with somebody, bring somebody else over here, and specifically to me, have these people come on here and pretty much be your bodyguard. Now let's move on to Stormy. That's my problem with you, girl. If you, ever since she got on the show, she been getting on my damn nerves. She do too much. She's looking for camera time, and it's just the absolute most for absolutely no reason. People could be as mad as they want to, but I did watch that top part of the episode. People could be as mad as they want to as Destiny, and Destiny do a lot. But in that situation, Stormy was wrong because she was not talking to you, and you interjected in a conversation that had nothing to do with you. So yeah, Destiny said, and I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to Melody. Mind your business. Like how I look at it is, Stormy, you're not Mel's bodyguard. And that's all she been playing from the episodes that I have seen. You're playing Mel's bodyguard. And Mel, to me, kind of sort of likes that shit because she don't have anybody else that she can rock with like that. That shit's so annoying. Get Stormy off my screen because she do the absolute most, and you're not Mel's bodyguard. Mel is a grown-ass woman who can stand up for herself. Stop being her bodyguard or her mouthpiece, because I guarantee you, the minute that you fall out with Mel, she gonna bring somebody else on the damn show. I'm over it, y'all. I'm out, bye.